If you want to be a speaker and you're doing speeches, then the story becomes critical. You can't have a speech without a great story. But for those of you who are doing coaching or thought leadership kinds of videos, so before you get to your advice, before you tell me about the 8 ways that I can lose weight or whatever, then you need to tell me that you understand me. This is the biggest mistake that people make when they're creating these thought leadership videos, is you're giving me advice, but I don't know who you are.
Story always wins on this platform. It was probably like 5 years ago. I wanted to take things to the next level, and I linked up with some buddies and we're like, let's go to the desert, let's go to Utah, high production. We had drones and trucks and cameras and wanted to make this running thing, and so excited, spent more money than I had, and then came back, put it all together, released it. The next week I wrote a speech, attached it to a still image, cost $0 to make, and put it up, and it did like 10 times better. As a creator, I had to ask myself, how do I remain authentic and do what feels good, but also stretch that so that I can win on YouTube? And so I started writing 10, 15-minute speeches. Very new to me, but the channel grew instantly.
Eddie Panero, ladies and gentlemen. What do you got for us, man? What do people need to do?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm so excited to be hanging out. I put myself in the position of when I started YouTube, if there were 3 things I could tell younger me, what would it be? And so balance, story, and audience. So the first one, balance, the balance between, as creators or people that have brands and stories to tell, being authentic and loving what we're doing and creating passionately, while also understanding the parameters of the platform and how to win in a specific arena. So when I started paying attention to how to win on YouTube, my channel grew, and not kind of grew, it 20x. What I'm talking about is creating content. So on my channel, I write speeches. I like tell stories about life and epiphanies and look for inspiration in sort of the day-to-day things. I did that, made like 3.5 minute videos, like almost like little songs. When I started working with Evan, he was basically like, look, watch time wins on YouTube. If you really want to grow your channel, you have to have longer videos. And so as a creator, I had to ask myself, how do I remain authentic and do what feels good, but also stretch that so that I can win on YouTube? And so I started writing 10, 15-minute speeches. Very new to me, but the channel grew instantly. Same thing with the titling. I loved sort of artsy, cryptic, how movie titles, you don't even really know what they mean until you watch the movie. That's what I was doing. I could do that. I could continue, but there's disadvantages. YouTube doesn't know what you're talking about. You wouldn't come up in search. It doesn't know what niche you're in. You have to be very specific. So I started changing titles and thumbnails, and again, saw another substantial growth curve. So that's the first thing. It's understanding that balance between, as creators, being authentic and loving what we're doing, but taking the time to really learn what wins on a platform. Because if you marry the two, you see fireworks.
I like that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, of course I like it, but it's great. No, it's the head and the heart. It's like my language, right? It's like the head and the heart, where if the head is just the strategies and here's what you need to do to win, but if you don't love it, you're not going to win. But if you're only following your heart and there's no strategy attached to it too, then you don't end up getting the result. And so it's in that combination of what you love doing with what is actually working that you start to get some significant results. And so this is a challenge for everybody, is that in any of these strategies that we give you, not just today, but in all the movement makers, it's figuring out how do you make it your own. And one of my biggest challenges in my YouTube career was in working with my agent, and the same agent as Mel Robbins and Grant Cardone and all those guys. He'd give me assignments that never quite felt right. He'd give me assignments that stretch me and ask me to tell stories that didn't feel quite right. But I still did them. And in the doing of them, it was kind of like trying on somebody else's hat. It didn't quite fit, but it got me 80% of the way there. And it gave me a good perspective point that then I could take what he gave me and I just had to add my own little customization to it. And so I love that. What did you call it?
balancing like your authentic self and what works on the platform.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And you know, I can think of times I've been on either a little too, like the pendulum swings, and I guess it's different seasons of your life. It's okay to be one way or the other. But like before we had gone into like before I met you and we started talking shop, it was way too far to the left, completely disregarding the YouTube, you know, how to win on the platform. And then there are times where like, yeah, to your point, like you get so into it that you start losing that creative spark, and you can't have that either. You gotta have a little bit of both.
Well, I really think you can approach it from both ways. So you come with a great idea, or it's something like you love doing, right? Like, oh, I would love to spend my time doing this, right? That's your leading with the heart. And then you got to figure out, okay, how do I make this actually work? Because if I don't figure out a way for it to work, then it's just a hobby as opposed to something that's having a meaningful impact. At the same time, though, sometimes I'll come up with things where, okay, this is what's really working right now. This is what's really trending right now. This is something that, you know, we should be doing, but it doesn't feel right. So how do I take that thing and then attach my heart to it? So I think you can approach it from both perspectives. But yeah, that matching is super, super important.
And another thing to piggyback, because this is so real to me, like this hits home when he's talking about the agent stretching him and doing, like, a lot of the times when you do things and you explore, like learning what doesn't work is just as important in a lot of ways, because it like allows you to then take the little pieces that did and build them up. So yeah, when he said that, I'm like, oh man, there's so many times where it's like I did things and it wasn't quite right, but it wasn't a loss because I learned what not to do, and I also was able to cherry pick the things that were like, you know, on point.
So that's number one, balance.
Balance.
What's number two, Eddie? What do you got?
Story. And so this one is almost so obvious that it feels like a cliche, but like storytellers rule the world, you know. And starting out, like if I would put my arm around younger me and say the tech doesn't matter, you know, the looking at all these things and what other people are doing, like none of it matters. If you can tell a good story, you'll win. And I have just so many examples of life handing me that lesson. Like the first 6 months of the channel, I wrote some speeches, told some stories that audio's horrendous. I was in iMovie at the time, didn't know how to edit. It's sloppy. It just looks bad, but they did very well. And when I reshare them and point people to them today, they still do well because the message is on brand. It's on point. It connects with people. And so, yeah, that's like the biggest thing. Story always wins on this platform. I had another example is like, it was probably like 5 years ago. I wanted to take things to the next level, and I like linked up with some buddies and we're like, let's go to the desert. Let's go to Utah, high production. We had drones and trucks and cameras and wanted to make this running thing, and so excited, spent more money than I had, you know, and then came back, put it all together, released it. The next week, I wrote a speech, attached it to a still image, cost $0 to make, and put it up, and it did like 10 times better. Again, YouTube's visual, so like I'm not advocating the still image thing, but like that sort of emphasizes the point. On the second one, the story worked and the message connected better. And I was like, wow, you know, never put the cart before the horse again. You got to have stories. So that's another one.
Yeah, I like it. And Eddie's a great storyteller. If you check out his channel, Your World Within, everything that Eddie posts there is his own content, is his own speeches. So you've been doing it for how many years?
It's almost a decade now.
Jesus.
I know. It's crazy.
You're a YouTube veteran.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So everything that he's posted is his own original creations. So then he will put B-roll and music and photography and everything else on top of it. If you want to be a speaker and you're doing speeches, then the story becomes critical to, you can't have a speech without a great story. Yeah. But for those of you who are doing coaching or thought leadership kinds of videos, we've talked about the template for a thought leadership video where it starts with the powerful opinion, context, sentence, raise the stakes, and then story. So before you get to your advice, before you tell me about the 8 ways that I can lose weight or whatever, then you need to tell me that you understand me. This is the biggest mistake that people make when they're creating these thought leadership videos, is you're giving me advice, but I don't know who you are. And it's easy for people to look at you and say, well, it's easy for you. Like, great, you already look so skinny, or you already have done XYZ, right? It's easy for you. You don't understand me. But you do understand them because you've been through that, but they don't know that because it's their first time seeing you. So that's where the story becomes really important in every kind of video, so that they know what you've been through. They know that you're like them. And whether it's your story, something in the news cycle story, client story. If I say a client story, they'll usually change the gender or change some of the things around it, just not to personally identify somebody. But the story is what gets people in to feel like this person gets me. And then they're willing to listen to the advice, because without the story, without the connection, they won't listen to the advice. So the story part is important to every kind of video, whether you're doing, speaking videos like Eddie, and your goal is to be a, speaker on stage, or any kind of thought leadership content as well.
Creating unique and consistent content for different platforms. So, Thought Leadership Success Map, this is the holy grail. This is the whole thing all in one graphic. So if you're ever struggling, like, how do I make content? And how do I dive deeper into the content I'm making? This is the holy grail right here. So we've talked about this in the past, but I haven't brought it up in a while. And so this is what we want to be focused on. At the top, this is a top-down approach. It's like, how do you be on every platform? Back to the initial topic that we're talking about today. Like, how do we be on every platform while still running our business and still not being like a full-time influencer on all these places, right? At the top, it's our 10-minute videos, and that's YouTube and Instagram lives. It's long-form content that then gets broken down. And one of the things that I've been working with a lot with people, whether it's movement makers on our live sessions or some big name people that I'm working with and helping them grow their channels, I think we're overlooking this section here on the left a lot. What do you want to try to get business from? So yesterday I did an IG live with Erica Lane, who's a movement maker, who's been with us signed up for the year. It's like, well, what do you want to make money at? What are you trying to sell? What are you trying to create? And for her, it's leadership. So she sells leadership into corporations, but she also wants to move a little downstream to help leaders who are just getting started, like entrepreneurs who are building their businesses up and now are leading, and potentially down into self-leadership. Like, what does it mean to lead yourself, or to lead your family, or to lead little community groups? But like, whatever you want to try to make money doing, show me the process of you doing it. This is the fastest way to start, not just making content, but also having it turn into business for you. So for Erica, we were creating her plan yesterday. In her 5 videos that she was going to make, 2 were going to be targeting the corporate, because that's where she makes money. That's the easiest way for her to make money right now. She has a process. If somebody comes in from corporate, she knows how to sell them, train them, give them a lot of value. So 2 just towards them. 2 towards the entrepreneurs that are 25 employee plus is her kind of threshold for who she wants to work with. Cool. And she can help them. And then 1 towards the experimental self-leadership, family leadership kind of stuff, because she doesn't have a business model built out around that yet. And so I want you guys, yes, making content, but the more we can turn it into business faster, the easier it is to keep going, right? Because now we're making some money doing it. So what do you ultimately want to sell? What's your business model? What are we trying to create? Who are we trying to serve? And then making content geared specifically towards them is the easiest type to get started. It's the most fun, and it leads to revenue, which then allows you to continue to build up and grow. So whether it's thought leadership, which is direct to camera stuff, coaching, you're coaching clients, but it's going to be on a video. Mentoring is now that's going to be a series. You're mentoring someone in your team. You're doing interviews with people, Q&A. Biz dev is massively overlooked. So if you're looking at think about who could be a partner for you in your business. In Built to Serve, I talk about the 3 ways to grow your business, right? There's the fast, passive freedom, where you're doing the outreach and you're direct messaging people and trying to connect with them. And it's basically sales, right? But through social media. Second one is partnerships, where you're thinking, who can I partner with that if they knew who I was and they were recommending me, it would lead to tremendous business for me. And then the third is thought leadership, where you're creating content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, et cetera. But in the partnerships, we can combine them. So who's a good potential partner for your business? And instead of just messaging them and say, hey, do you want to have a coffee, or can I introduce you to my company, what I'm doing? invite them as a guest on your show. And we don't even care about how many views that video gets necessarily. It's more about the relationship that you're going to build. Because they may not spend the time with you to meet over coffee or take a sales call, but they love telling their story and they love being on shows. So you use your show, even if you have a tiny channel, you ask them to be a guest on your show, and that builds the relationship because you're going to spend time with them. They're going to get to know you, like you, trust you, right? They're going to love you, and they're going to ask, "What do you do? What's your deal? What are you all about?" Which then gives you the chance to talk about your business. And a lot of great partnerships will end up happening as a result. So people definitely overlook the biz dev part. And then a document is going to be you're showing the behind the scenes of your life, of your business. That's usually the hardest one to make. It takes the most editing, which I'm not a big fan of at the beginning when you're starting on your journey. But this is the top-down approach, right? It's like our 10-minute plus videos. We're going long form, and this may be all you need to create. Terrell says, just landed a partnership doing this. Yeah, it's honestly a great challenge for you guys for this month. Is think about 3 people that if they knew who you were, 3 companies or people that if they knew who you were and they were talking about you would make a meaningful difference to growing your business, and then reach out to them and invite them to be a guest on your new show. Even if it's a brand new show, reach out to them to be a guest on your show. So you build a relationship. From there, we take the best moments and turn it into micro content. So most of what we do on all these platforms, me personally, is we're taking YouTube content. So we're making the long form videos and then we cut it up. You take the best moments and you turn them into all of these different platforms. You can do it yourself through editing, or you can hire somebody, whether it's somebody who's local, whether it's somebody on Fiverr, whether it's somebody who's in your community who you're doing an exchange of services, you're coaching them and they're helping you with content. This is doesn't have to be heavily edited. It doesn't have to be highly skilled. Again, like focus on the quality of thought more than the production quality. Wendy says, sending out invites today. Let's go, Wendy. That's what I'm talking about. And then again, like let's make it lead to business. So that leads to a lead magnet. It's not just creating content into a void. We want to lead them to a lead magnet. So we had Erica, who was on with me yesterday on Instagram. Her Instagram bio link wasn't working, right? So it's like, okay, well, that's the first thing we need to fix. So when I click on your link, it actually goes to your website, but ideally it leads to a lead magnet so we can capture their email addresses. And then that's where the selling is done. So we're not making sales videos that go up on YouTube, Instagram, etc. If you make a video, it's not the end of the world. Like I might make a post on when Momentum comes out, my book, right? I might make a post to say, hey, Momentum came out, go check it out. But it won't get nearly as much reach because it's a sales pitch. So if all your videos are just sales pitches, it's dead on arrival. Nobody's going to watch it. Whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, it doesn't matter. So we want people to get to know us, love us, want to connect with us, to get their email address, and then we're giving them value emails, and then we're selling them, right? And selling them, I guess it has a negative connotation. It's like we're giving them value, we're providing our service, we're helping them. And then whatever you're trying to sell, right? These are some examples. So this is still the model that I use. This is still the model I recommend using. You could have strategies for each of these individual platforms. It can just become overwhelming. But I don't want you to get overwhelmed and feel like it's impossible, and then nothing happens and we don't stay consistent. Brian is saying I should probably stick with the fast, faster freedom for now, right? So the 3 models in Built to Serve: fast, faster freedom, which is the direct messaging outreach, partnerships, and then content. Those are the 3 models. It all depends on how quickly you need to bring in business. Like if you need to bring in business right away, then it's sales, it's outreach, it's direct messaging people. It's one-on-one connections, and you're sending 50 to 100 messages a day, connecting with people, and some people will pick that up. If I really wanted, I need to sell movement makers, or I need to sell momentum, like the easiest thing to me to do, maybe not the easiest, the most effective short-term thing today would be start messaging everybody. Like anybody who follows me, anybody who's got an issue with momentum, anybody posting around how they're stuck or they're not in momentum mode, they're procrastinating, they're overthinking, direct messaging. And some people will pick it up. It's a lot of grunt work, but it's the fastest way to bring in deals. The partnership is really slow, and then it goes really fast. So if Wendy's going to do the outreach, and send three messages today. That's slow. You're building the relationship, but once you get the right relationship, they say yes, then it can go really fast because that one person can send you 10, 100, 1,000 clients, sales, etc. And then the content is the slowest, but it's the most effective long-term. So that the videos that you make now, they may not get a result right now, but in a month and in 2 months and 6 months and 12 months and 24 months, the videos are still there, still driving leads, attention, interest, awareness for what you're doing. So it just depends on how quickly you need to make things happen. I want to talk about storytelling, public speaking, and I want to go deeper with you guys today. When I was thinking about what to talk about for today, I thought, you know what? We should go deep with the questions that you guys have. So think about the question you've got. What's the most important thing you're struggling with right now with storytelling or public speaking? And whether we'll do it in the text chat or we bring people up on stage and talk about it. I really want to go deep to make sure that you're getting value out of this. Like, how do we take this speaking career of yours to the next step? Storytelling and public speaking. Where are you struggling right now? And your question will probably be really valuable to everybody else watching as well. All right, we got a couple hands coming up. So let's bring Dr. O up.
Good morning. I'm a storyteller, but I haven't honed it down. So my question is, how do I say one story, stick with it, to have the call to action, what I want people to gain from it? Because I can tell stories, but I haven't quite figured out how to make it work for the other person.
So the best stories that you say from stage are the ones where you are helping people first, right? Like the best stories that I've told are because I help people one-on-one first. Because when you're speaking live on stage to a group of people, you don't get a lot of fantastic feedback. Like you can kind of look at their faces and see what's going on, but they have a lot of thoughts and yeah buts and what ifs in their head, but they're not expressing them. But when you sit down with somebody one-on-one, you get the feedback. You get to see what they're thinking. You get to hear the real thoughts going on in their head. And so my best stories have come, the stories that I tell on stage, the stories I just told in Vegas, I've told countless times to people one-on-one, and I know how to tell the story so that it moves them to a result. You can have a million different stories, and it's awesome that you're a storyteller. Stories, the point is to get people to move towards some kind of action. So the key is figuring out which story to tell in which context. So if you're going to go on stage and speak, what's the end goal that you want to have happen? And then what's the right story to tell in this situation? Does that make sense?
I'm figuring it out.
I would practice telling more stories to more individual people and ask them what they thought.
Gotcha.
And especially the resistance, like where does it not make sense?
Okay, I'll tell you a quick story.
Okay.
I had eye surgery the end of last month. And when I went to my doctor's office, he said I could go back to work. I work in the ER, and I decided I need a doctor's note not to work till July so that I can sit with what I really want to do with this in this space. And so the story for me is I have no income. So I have to figure if I really want to be in this space or not, because just the way to help people is to be able to be consistent and to have a way to pay my bills. Otherwise, I'm not going to be in this space. I'll go back because every time I'm in the ER, I can't fit into this space. It's a different zone. So the story for me is to tell people that are 60-year-olds in healthcare that they need to live their best life. Even though they've lived a better life in something they know, it's okay to pivot. Because if you don't, what are you going to do at the end of life? And so, I mean, that's why I did it. That's the story I told myself. And so I'm just trying to figure how to take life situations and make it stories to help people make decisions. And I made that decision to say, I've burned that bridge. Is it a permanent bridge? I think it is, but I have to make it work. That's why I came on the call.
No, I love it. And your journey becomes the story. So a couple of things in there, right? Like you haven't done the thing yet, right? You haven't built the successful career outside of healthcare yet.
No.
So we can't say, here's what I've done. You know, look at what I've done. But the story is that you have the courage to try and the willingness to try. And you're going to make mistakes and you're going to have self-doubt and you're going to not be sure if it's working out or not. And the willingness to try is the inspiration. So if we're telling a story, if my main call to action was, I want people to be willing to try, like if that's the message, be willing to try.
Be willing to try.
Right? You could have tons of stories, but my takeaway from this one is, hey, be willing to try. So when people are around you or they hear your speech or they watch your video, I need to feel like I should go off. I've got an idea. I need to be willing to try. Dr. O is going to go off and do it. And I need to be willing to try as well. So the message is be willing to try. Then you can tell a story around it.
Gotcha.
Let me tell you guys, I'm here I'm trying to do it too. Like I haven't started living my life yet. I'm trying. I don't know all the steps. I'm trying to figure it out. I know that I don't want to see any ER anymore because it makes me feel X, like whatever it actually makes you feel. And I know I want to be in a different spot. And I'm tired of people telling me that I'm too old. And I'm tired of telling myself that I'm too old and that I can't change. And then whatever like the actual thoughts are in your head that when you wake up, because you don't wake up every day and like, I'm going to go crush this goal. So like, what are the actual thoughts in your head? Because that's what brings us in and makes it personal.
Okay.
And then you share, and I still get up every day because I'm willing to try and I want to make this happen. So that when I walk away, I've been inspired by the story, but my takeaway is be willing to try.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Now, when you're talking to somebody one-on-one, then you can ask for feedback. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do now? And you see are they actually off, ready to try something, or are they still dealing with their own doubts and insecurities? Because when you're speaking on stage, again, you're speaking to a group of people. You don't get that feedback. But if you can structure, you have so many stories to tell. Cool. They don't all have to fit into one video or one speech. One main message per video, per speech that when I walk away with, if you think like the event I just came back from in Vegas, it's like, it was 3 days, 4 days. I don't remember. So many speakers, everybody gets up. There's another speech. It's like it's speech overload. Like you guys have all been to events and it's just crazy speech overload. So to hope that somebody remembers everything that you're going to say is impossible. So it's like, what's the one thing that I'm going to get from your message that I can take away that you are the most valuable person for me from that event? And it starts with you having that intention as opposed to just standing up and saying, I got a bunch of stories to tell.
Gotcha.
Good luck. All right. Milko in the house. I saw him bouncing. What do we got, Milko?
My question is not very well formed, but for me, because from what I know, good storytelling, you need to show emotion. And it's kind of like last time we kind of covered this and you showed us how you actually took you 700 videos or what was the number, something like that, to find your self and be yourself on camera. So for me, because I'm not used to sharing my emotions in any way, so I'm usually quite intense when I coach people, but I don't share my emotions. And I know that, for example, for storytelling, when you show your emotions, when you share them, it's much better and people can relate to you more. So I'm trying to find this voice, but I can't really make the difference because sometimes I feel like I'm really putting it there and I'm kind of showing my emotions and stuff like that. And then it turns out at the video that it's not, or someone else is telling me that it's not really, it sounds a bit not genuine and so on. So kind of, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but
I got you. So listen, I mean, if you go back and watch our session from a couple of weeks ago, is, you know, I self-criticized my videos or critiqued them going back, and when I got the feedback to have more motion, you see my very beginning videos, that the content was still almost still what I talk about now. The delivery was way off. It's like, okay, guys, so I got a question from my reader, and you know, it's like just super boring watching it back. And then when I got the feedback to try to do more emotion, it felt forced, right? Like as I was critiquing my videos, like, look at that video. Like I'm trying, there is more energy, but it's not real Evan energy. It's a forced energy, but it's better than what it was, but it's not where it needs to be. And it's still pushing through that discomfort to practice and work on it, because it was 80% there. Some of the things are right, but I had to keep trying it on to like make it fit for me. One of the best things that helped me, and this is advice I told Alex too, who's in the house, so we could talk about him. When Alex first started doing stories at TDS, Toronto Dance Salsa, he was doing stories at the front of the class, he was doing stories on videos. It all sucked. I mean, like what we all suck at the beginning, right? And Alex can add to the chat if he wants, kind of sharing stuff. But it was really bad, and the points were still good, but the delivery was just really, really bad. And so the exercise I gave him was, whenever you feel the emotion, film. So whenever you feel like that breakthrough video for me, I forget what number it was, like 670 something, was because I came back from that event. I was trying to help entrepreneur. I was so frustrated. And so I just filmed. I had no idea what I was going to say, and I just filmed. And the energy was on point. The content wasn't as good, but the energy was so much better. And it's the energy that's actually going to carry the day. And so whenever you feel the emotion, if you just come out of Movement Makers and you feel grateful, or you just come out of a coaching call and you feel frustrated, or whatever's happened, like you feel emotions throughout your day. They just may not be there when you're about to press record on the camera. So the trick is, have your phone with you, which we probably all do. And when you feel that emotion, you film. And it does two things. One, it gets you the practice of speaking from your heart, because we're speaking from our head with most of our videos. So it gets you the practice of speaking with your heart and letting that express, because you feel what it feels like, but you haven't practiced vocalizing what it feels like. And so it gets you that practice. The second thing is, when you go to try to tell that story again, if you're going to then tell that story on stage, you're going to tell that story in a future video, you can go back and watch how you delivered it when you were actually in that state. And then you can think back to, yeah, that's how I felt. Because it's hard to manufacture that sometimes when you're just sitting at home on your ball, kind of bouncing around, figuring out, you know, talking about food choices, right? So that's the best activity that I would recommend. It's like, try to catch it during the week and then film, even if you don't post it, just try to catch an emotion, any a positive or negative emotion, and film it. And don't stress if it sucks, and don't stress if it's not well thought out, or you don't really know what you're saying as you go, but just practice that, because the more you practice that, the better you'll get at it. And again, you can go watch it back and say, yeah, that's what it feels like to have that thought again. So you could get out of your head and into your heart.
Thank you. It's
Cool.
Very helpful.
Yeah. I remember one time where, like, when I was really grinding on Alex to do this, we're at a dance event. So we hosted these dance parties once a week or so. And he was, I forget, he had some kind of emotion, right? He was upset or he was happy. I don't remember what it was. Like, dude, go film. Like, now? Yeah, go film now. And then he filmed. You know, it's like, that's what you need to train yourself to do. You're feeling emotional, film, even if it's just for yourself, to get the repetition down. We got an important topic to talk about today: how to accelerate the growth of your movement. I'm excited. Let's dive into it. So the fast path to freedom. This is, again, in Built to Serve. You want to think about the social media accounts where you're going to live on. And so you think about Instagram, you think about LinkedIn, think about Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, right? You think about your main social media accounts. You start by having just the account. You create a professional picture, bio, and content, right? In all of any social media network, you're going to have the option to add a picture
bio, and content. And now gear your picture and your bio towards your ideal customer. What I want you thinking of, if my ideal customer landed on my page, if you're looking at Instagram, right? If your ideal client landed on your Instagram page, would they want to call you? Would they want to work with you? Would they want to potentially hire you? Is there enough on there that makes you think this person knows what they're talking about? They are the expert. They can help me. I need to reach out, right? So this is what we want to be doing across all of our social accounts. What's the picture you're going to use? What's your bio that you're going to add? And what content you're going to put up? A lot of times there's inconsistencies across different platforms. There's no real thought or care or consideration to it. Make a picture that's a headshot. I want you zoomed in, not a full body shot. Unless you're in fitness, maybe there's a case, right, to see the whole body. But even then, people resonate with the face. I want people to recognize you instantly. And so have the same picture across all your social media accounts. And then again, a bio that speaks to your ideal client. My idea is I want people to come look at your account and then say, I want to work with this person. Next, we're going to create 10 pieces of content, and that's it. So what do you actually make the 10 pieces of? I lay it out in the book. We'll go over it super quickly here. It starts with number one, your who, right? So what's your most important core value? Why? Tell me where it comes from. Tell me why it's so important to you. Show me why you care. Like this is how you stand out versus most people. Most people's accounts are boring. Most companies' accounts are super boring. Most people are saying the exact same thing. And so don't make it look like a resume. Your who. It's your most important core value. If I'm making a post about believe, it should ooze confidence and energy and awesomeness, right? And from the heart. So what is your most important core value? And then make an emotional piece of content that could be a video or could be written form, just something that if I read it, I'm going to feel that same thing. I'm going to feel believe by reading your believe post. 2 is explain your why. So tell me why you're doing what you're doing. Tell me your pain that you went through and tell me how it led to your purpose, right? All the stuff that we're talking about in the book. Talk to me about your darkest moment and how you came out of it. People don't want to learn from the perfect person. People don't want to learn from the person who looks like they have it all figured out, because it makes people feel like, well, they're perfect. I can't be like that. I need to know that you went through the same thing I went through. That is the thing that will make people connect to you. And so I need to see a post talking about your why, right? And this format can be, it could be 9 YouTube or 10 YouTube videos. It could be 10 Instagram posts, 10 LinkedIn posts, 10 tweets, right? I just need to have content there so it's not a dead account with just a face and a bio. And then 3 is give me your how. Give me an overview of your recipe for success. We talk about it in the book, where basically, how did you get out of the problem that you were in? And how can you then use that as a tool to teach other people how they can get out of it as well? Well, that should be one post. One of the things that a lot of people struggle with when they're creating content is they're all over the map. You have so much in your head and you want to say so many things. But then when you look at a post, it's a mix of 18 different messages. Tighten it down. Focus. One key thought per post. Make me feel one thing. If you make me feel 10 things, I don't know what to do next, right? One key thing per post. So your who, your why, your how are 3 of the 10 posts I want to see in your amazing 10-pack of content. Treat it like your brochure. This is your brochure. This is your flyer. This is you talking about what you're doing and showcasing that you are an expert. Because if I'm coming to your page, your profile, with a problem, one that you know that you can solve, I need to feel like you are the person to help me. 4 to 6 is your recipe breakdown. So how you got out of it, teach me. So the first 3 posts are more inspiring, more motivational, more you understand me. You know what I'm going through because you've been through it as well, right? It connects with me on a human level. Your next 3 are now going to be you teaching me something. So specifically, what did you do? Or what can I do to help me get out of the problem that you know how to solve? And that's 3 different posts. If you can mix it up between, if I'm thinking Instagram, if you make it up between pictures, videos, fire captions, awesome. Same thing for LinkedIn. Pictures, videos, fire caption. If you're doing Pinterest, you have an amazing picture, but write some awesome caption. Step 7 is results. I want to see your results. I want to see your client results, the people who you've helped. Show me their results. So now, if you think about this arc of a story we're telling,
our first three are these emotional pieces that makes me connect to you as a human. Our next three is telling me exactly what I need to do to get out of the hole that I'm in, right? Step by step. And don't worry, like nobody's going to take that thing and just run with it and crush it. People are afraid to give up their secrets. You need to showcase that you are an expert and you know what you're talking about. So don't be afraid about giving them a high level. Step one, do this. And then results. So you're showing me what happened. Tell me again your story, somebody else's story. We're taking people on a journey, on an arc, so that we're likely, way more likely to convert people to want to hire us, want to work with us. 8 and 9, now we're showing me more examples. So showing me again more specifics. Take me on a journey of you or people you've helped. Dive deeper. If you haven't helped anybody yet, give me a hypothetical example, right? Show me who you would be helping. Hypothetical of a mom who has, you know, these scenarios, or a dad like this, or an entrepreneur just starting off, right? I could, if it were me and I was just getting started, it would be a story about entrepreneurs who are trying to get their first business off the ground. If you look at books like The Go-Giver, Bob Berg, friend of the channel, it's a parable, right? They're teaching through a narrative that doesn't actually exist. It's not a real character, but you're learning through those stories. So what is a story if you don't have any actual examples or clients you can share? And then your last point is hope. Give me hope. Make me feel hope. Make me feel like it's possible. Make me feel like I'm not alone. Make me feel like where I'm at right now doesn't have to be where I'm going to finish. It makes a huge, huge, huge difference, because if you've now taken me on this journey of, you've connected with me emotionally, you've shown me that you know what you're talking about and that I can get through it. You've shown me examples and results of other people who've done it, and you've done it as well. And then you leave with an inspirational message of hope that it's possible for me as well. You're giving people an arc that as people are going through these 10 posts, they're way more likely to want to work with you. And so this can help as a structure, give you clarity over the content to create for your accounts. And I would apply this for all of my accounts. I would apply this for every single platform that you create an account on, and then stop. The goal here is not to be the thought leader, content producer, making pieces of content every single day, getting out there. This is the fast path to freedom. This is now we're going to start doing outreach. The goal here is, I want, if people come to your account to see you as the expert, next step is, how do I get people to come to my account? But you got to give them something on your account that makes you seem credible, and I want to work with you, hire you, contact you, take the next step with you, right? It's worth spending time on all of these. Normally, when I'm talking about making content on the thought leadership side, I say, don't worry so much about production quality. Don't worry about having the perfect words each time. Just get it out there. These ones, it's worth, treat it like a marketing brochure. It's worth spending a little bit more time on, not necessarily from having a camera crew come in and film you and making it perfect, but even from the angle of just you being prepared, you not just throwing up your first take, you really spending time on each to go over it, because this is now going to do all the heavy lifting for us once we get people coming to our page. So how do we actually get people to see our account? You reach out. And there's two key ways: search and hashtags. And depending on the platform you're looking at, some you can search just for keywords. If you go to YouTube, you can search keywords. You can see what people are going through. Hashtags are almost on every platform. Instagram, you can't search. You can only go through hashtags. So your searching is through hashtags. And you're looking for people who are struggling with the thing that you struggled with, right? Your purpose comes from your pain. The people who you're going to help are the people who currently are who you used to be. The great thing about social media is that people are sharing all the time. People are sharing what they're going through. They're sharing what they're struggling with. They're sharing what their inner demons are. They're sharing. So you're looking for the people who are talking about the thing that you can help with. For example, in the book, I talk about a guy named Michael who helped me overcome my concussion. And we created a template for him to say, hey, look for people who are talking about concussions on Instagram. Look at people who are posting, because when you get a concussion, a lot of people, what they're going to do is they're going to post Instagram. And most of the time, people are just posting to get support from their friends and sometimes to complain, right? But if you're there reaching out for help, you're saying, hey, I know what you're going through. I've been through that myself. I want to help. I've got ideas for you that might be able to help you. What are they going to do next? Say, oh, that's interesting. This is the only person reaching out to me. They're going to go check out your account. What are they going to see in your account? They're going to see an amazing picture, an amazing bio, and 10 pieces of amazing content that we just spent all this time working on, right? So the idea is every day we're going to reach out to people. Every day we're going to reach out to people. We're going to send DMs. We're going to text them. We're going to send them messages, offering hope, offering guidance, offering what I like to do is offer a call. So what I recommend is offering a free call with people and guide them through how you can help and give them value on the call. Like your point of a free call is they want to come back and work with you again. They should be asking, how much does it cost to hire you? Can I bring you on as my coach? Can I continue working with you somehow? If you're not getting that after a free call, then you didn't do a good enough job on the call yet in terms of providing value. And so you keep practicing, right? You keep practicing doing more and more free calls. We have our picture, we have our link, we have our bio, we have our 10 pieces of content, and we stop posting content and just start outreaching. This is the fastest way to start getting clients, to start building your business. Today, guys, we have a super, super, super important topic: when to push versus when to break. And this is a really important one because I think we have moments where we are our best. We have moments where we are showing up, where we are motivated, where we're inspired, where we're doing our thing, where we know that what we're doing is important, where we feel the impact. Maybe you joined Movement Makers and you got a lot of inspiration from the session. Maybe somebody left you a great comment. But then there's going to be days when you wake up and you don't feel like it, and you don't have the energy, and it's not as high. And you have that voice inside your head that says, tomorrow. Do it tomorrow, right? It's okay. You deserve a break. You've been working too hard. What do you do when that voice comes in? When all of your friends tell you to take it easy, to relax, to take a break? I have a rule where I want to spend 95% of my time pushing harder and 5% of my time giving myself a break. Because there are definitely some times where you actually really do need a break, where you need to take care of yourself, where you need to relax, when you've actually pushed too hard, and that's okay. But most of the time, I think you need to push harder. I think that's the mindset of high achievers. And I'm going to break down today some of the stories, just from my own experience you can learn from, as well as some strategies you can use to help you identify when to push harder and when to break. So first thing I'm going to talk about here, how to decide between pushing versus breaking. Pass the pillow test. So let's dive in. So again, 95% push, 5% break. This is my own internal metric. This is what I tell myself. 95% of the time when I'm feeling low energy, tired, don't feel like doing it, have every excuse in the world not to do it, every reason, everybody else left me off the hook. 95% of the time, me, Evan Carmichael, emotionally, the voice in my head is, go do it. You have to go do it. This becomes an identity thing. This is who I want to be. Evan Carmichael at his best self is the guy who's off pushing for one more, saying no to that little voice in my head. And then 5% is to take a break, take it easy. It's okay to rest, right? You can figure out what the numbers are for you, but for achievers, you guys got big movements ahead of you. It should lean more towards the push than the break. So let me talk to you about Tuesday. We've been going through some crazy times here at the Carmichael household. We just came back from a trip. We went out to Kelowna, our first family trip in the past 2 years, which is amazing. There's no corona out there at all, so everybody's around, no masks, indoor dining, all of it. We're here in Toronto. There's a lot of still issues. You can't do indoor dining and wearing masks. We feel weird going out there, but we come back here. I decided I want to redo my office and redo my bedroom and do floors. I want new floors. So you probably can't see them from this angle because I moved my desk and it's a little chaotic, but we got brand new floors in the office. It wasn't ready. It was supposed to be ready on Monday. We got the wrong floors. It didn't work. So Tuesday was a disaster. Tuesday is normally my YouTube filming day, okay? We can't sleep in our bedroom on Monday night because they put half the floors in and got to take them out. I can't do anything in our second bedroom because it's full of all the junk from the first bedroom. And I can't do anything in my third bedroom, which is my office, because the floors are all ripped up here too. So we take our bed and put it down in the kitchen, the only spot. And so we slept in the kitchen Monday night. Okay, Tuesday morning comes around. I had a terrible sleep. I'm still jet lagged. Nina's got an early morning acupuncture appointment. And Tuesday is my espresso video days. I got to go film espresso. I usually drive Nina to wherever she needs to go. She goes and does her stuff, and I film videos in the car. It's been our tradition. She wakes up. I am dead tired, and she said, "I'm gonna go. You sleep in a little bit. I'll come back and get you in a couple hours." This is the point when that little voice really matters. Because in my head, I'm thinking, I'm tired, I'm jet lagged. She's gonna come back in 2 hours and I'll be able to film then anyway. I can still get it done, right? We create a logical reason how we can still follow through. I can still get it done. I'm sleeping in the kitchen. I deserve this. I just came back. This is crazy. But then literally 10 seconds later, it's like, no, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I get up, we rush out, and then I go and film videos. And instead of just making, usually on an espresso day, I'll make 7 videos. I made 15. Just because that's what Evan Carmichael does, right? And not that I'm some superhero, like it's something that's been built. Every time you have that little voice inside your head that says, nah, you shouldn't do it. Like, no, there's no reason why I can't. And then go a little bit harder, push a little bit more. Now I went a little crazy because I was really in the zone. And I love, when I'm in the zone, I love staying in the zone as much as possible. So instead of doing 7, I finished off the 10 that were on my list. And then I asked for 5 more and then finished those 5 as well. Like, come on, Evan Carmichael, let's go, right? And this is for all of you, the same thing. You have that little voice that tells you can't do it, gives you all the reasons why you can't. And then you show yourself that you can. And not just that you can do that thing, but you can do more. And what it does is start to shift the identity. It starts to take away that little voice in your head so that it doesn't have to take you. I used to lose an entire day. I never lost weeks or months, right? But I would lose an entire day. If one little thing happened that derailed me, the whole day would be gone. Like, okay, I'll figure it out tomorrow. The goal is to try to get that to as short a window as possible. So instead of it taking an entire day for you to bounce back, it's a couple hours to then an hour to then half an hour to then 5 minutes to then 15 seconds. Stuff is going to happen. The answer is not to avoid all of the pains in life. Stuff is going to happen to you. It's how do you react to them and then get back on track, showing yourself that you're the person who does it. So I wanted to share a recent example because that just happened Tuesday. The most painful example was back in 2019 when I broke my neck, and I had a goal of going live every day on Instagram. I said on my tour, I'm going to go live every single day on Instagram. Every day, 90 days, every day I'm going live on Instagram, no matter what. Little did I know I was going to be in a hospital with a concussion and break my neck in 2 spots. But that no matter what made me want to do it. And this was me. I broke my neck on Nina's birthday. March 15th is Nina's birthday. And we broke my neck and I was in the hospital. And I said, I need to go live. And the doctor was like, you can't go live. And Nina's like, you're crazy. What are you doing? Like, no. I said I was going to go live every day. I can't even see the phone at this point, right? I've got a concussion. I don't know what's happening on the screen. But even if it's for 60 seconds, I'm going to go live. And most of my live streams were an hour long, right? I don't know how long this one ended up being. It was probably a couple minutes. I just gave people a quick update. It looks like I'm dying. So Doug Watler, who's a movie maker and longtime friend, took this screenshot and posted it to his Instagram. It's like, Doug, I look like I'm dead. I mean, he took it in black and white for whatever reason. I wasn't filming in black and white and posted it. But I'm happy. And I see, Adam Duran, who gave a thumbs up in the chat here on this picture, who's also now movie makers. Welcome aboard, Adam. This might have been crazy, might have been too stupid, but I'm proud of it. It was probably the worst live stream I've ever done. I don't know what I said. It was probably very incoherent, just telling people what happened and then I'm going to be okay. But it was likely my worst live stream of all time. But it's one of the ones that I'm most proud of because there was every reason why I couldn't do it. And then I still went and did it, right? So fast forward, March 29. So 2 weeks later, I'm back to filming videos. Now, they're not the most coherent videos. I'm not the best on camera. I'm wearing this neck brace. I've got this giant scab on my forehead, right? I look at myself. How many times have you looked at yourself and like, I can't make videos today because what? Because my hair is a little bit out of place. Looking at you, Alex. Because because I gained a little bit of weight, because whatever, right? I'm sitting here with a neck brace on. There's Alex taking his hat off. There we go. You know, with this giant scab on my forehead. It's like, let's go, right? And I had that, guys, I had that voice too. It's like, I can't make a video with this crazy thing on my forehead, with this neck brace on. I can't even fit into my clothes. I'm wearing, I might be naked under this. I'm not sure, but I might have a t-shirt on. I couldn't lift my arms to get anything on. I couldn't put my usual Believe hoodie on. So I put on a jacket. This is in Arizona or something. It's like super warm. But I'm wearing a jacket just to start making videos, because I had that voice in my head again telling me, you can't do this. Look at you, you're a mess. Who would not understand, right? Like everybody would understand if I didn't make content, given what happened. But I don't want that. Like that's the standard. I was on a walk with Nina this morning, taking the dogs up before coming here. And she's like, your standards are just way up here. This is a normal person and your standards are in the sky. It's like, yes, exactly. That's what we want. And by you raising your standards, you lift everybody else up around you as well. So it's not that I don't have these voices. I still have those voices telling me I can't do it. And all the reasons why I can't. It's fighting that voice every single day. By April, the scab was gone. I still can't fit into my hoodie. So I went to the store. I was tired of filming in just my one jacket. So we went to a store and we bought this giant, like double XL Nike sweater. That was the only thing I could fit into on a day-to-day basis. So you can see it there. I've gained some weight. Like, look at me. I'm barely moving, guys. I have pillows behind me. I'm in so much pain every day. We're continuing the tour. Look at my face. Look at how much weight I've gained. So now I'm self-conscious about my weight. I've just gained 15 pounds because I'm lying on a couch all day because I can't move. I can't film now. I can't film being this fat Evan. Again, voice in my head. No, I have to do it now because that was in my head. Now I have to do it because that was the reason. I refuse to not make content because of that voice. I refuse to play small because of that voice, right? Could I take a break? Yes. Is this where I'm proud of myself for taking a break? No. So I'm going to make videos. And then fast forward to May. Now I'm healing a little bit more. You can see I lost some weight on my face. If you go back, I'm at home now. I can fit into my shirts again. I'm still wearing the neck brace, still healing, but still making content. Still making content. My health card, we have a photo health card here in Ontario. And when we got back, I had to renew my health card because my wallet was stolen in LA on our trip. And we get to the place to take the picture and I'm wearing my neck brace. And he's like, don't you want to take your neck brace off for the camera? Because this is going to be on your health card for the next 5 years of you like scrunched up here with this neck brace on. I'm like, no, shh, don't tell them I could take it off. I want it on. I want that on my health card for the next 5 years. Like I showed up to take my picture that we all get self-conscious of in my neck brace when I could have taken it off just because, right? Like it's that daily constant attacking of that little voice inside your head telling you all the reasons why that you can't win. Okay. So I filmed throughout the whole thing. There wasn't a time that I took a day off on filming. Now, in 2019, October, my family dog died, Toby, and he passed away. We put him down. He had really bad cancer. He was struggling for a long time, and he passed away on a Tuesday, which was my filming day. And it was the morning, and it was my family all there, and my dad and I stayed in the room with him while they gave him the final injection, and everybody else left, and it was super emotional. And I couldn't imagine going home and filming, And so I told Christina, my editor, let's do some mashups. We still have to get videos up, but let's do some content, and let's just explain it at the beginning that I skipped the filming day, So we wrote this: Toby, my family's dog passed away from cancer this week. I didn't do my regular and stressful filming. I hope you understand. I love you, Toby. Still can't believe you're gone. Thank you for an amazing 11 years. And I'm still kind of getting a little choked up just looking at it. But I was okay with not filming on that day. I was okay with it. Like, this is where I would film through a broken neck. I would film through everything else. But for me, this was the moment where, like, okay, in the past however many years, this is the time that I'm I'm not filming, and I'm okay with that. Now, for those of you who have dogs, maybe you get what I'm saying. For those of you, you might think I'm crazy. That's okay too. It's not judging somebody else's reasons. It's, are you proud of yourself for why you didn't do it? I'm okay that I didn't film that week. We still got videos up. I'm okay with it. That was the 5%, right? 95% push, 5% break. I'm okay with that 5% being a break.
If you want to watch the full version of this video, as well as train live with me twice a month to help you build your movement and be around some other amazing people just like you, check out my Movement Makers program. The link to join is right there next to me. Can't wait to see you there. Continue to believe and go join.